Welcome, welcome. Give you a second to hop on. I tried to fix my wacky freaking hair. And when you look at yourself in your camera, you're backwards. So I made it like super lopsided. That's all good. Messy hair. We don't care. Now I pulled it too tight and I already have a headache. Woo, yeah. Oh my goodness. I can fix myself except for when I don't get enough sleep. That's like the one thing that I've not mastered to overcome energetically is sleep. I don't know. I'm sure there are some people that, why was my kid absent from school? And why am I paying bills automatically? All right. Hop on. Hello, it's 8 in Indiana. Yes, you are ahead of us. It's only 6:03 right now. And I almost said in Idaho. Well, we're practically in Idaho. We're in Utah. We're in the Utah-Idaho border. Really close. So hop on. Give you a second. We're going to get started and talk about some soul deliciousness. Let me get my things here. Okay. I need a drink. Hydration is key. I think 2 reasons I have a headache: lack of sleep, and I forgot my bottle at work today. So I was using my mug, and I literally drink one of these hourly. So I know that I didn't even get close to as much as I needed, because let's be honest, like after refilling my mug like 5 times, that was just a lot of work. Who's calling me? Should we take this call live and see who it is? No, we should not, because you are not in my contact list. Therefore, I have no idea who you are, and you can leave a message after the tone. All right, let's do this, because I've got a delicious dinner in my slow cooker that I would love to eat. Okay, so we're going to use visual aid today. I know, we're getting really creative. All right, see this? Everyone, back to math class. E equals MC squared. Now, if I show this to you, probably a lot of you, maybe like myself as well, when I first saw that, I was like, totally heard that before. Do I actually know what it is? Probably not. But if I were to ask you, if I show you this, is this questionable to you? No, you're going to be like, no, I've heard it all my life. Like, I know it's actually scientifically proven. Correcto. This is the discovery by Einstein that E, so E in our MC squared is energy. So basically, in easy men's terms, E is energy. Energy equals everything. Okay. That's the simple part of it. I mean, if we want to go diving, we could, but we're not going to go that deep. Now, this, hello, pork chops. Hello, Lisa. This is created an industry shift. Okay. So by that, I mean like looking at the stuff that's going on around you in technology. I mean, when we were kids, and I'm kind of aging myself, when I was a child, I know some of you are younger than me, we would watch shows where people were talking to each other on little watches. And this was like a phenomenon. And now it's something that your kids can do. They can call each other on these little watches. We used to have like old school walkie-talkies, and now people can FaceTime each other. I mean, wrap your head around that a little bit. Technology has made leaps and bounds, right? I can video anyone from anywhere. When we used to have these like gigantic, like big block camcorders that you had to put on a stand. And so, you know, when you had a concert, like you see everybody's tripods with their gigantic video recorders. Oh, okay. Tell me if you guys can still hear me, because I got a notification that my stream was having stress. I do not have Pandora going today. Can you guys hear me still? Just because of the time of day, I really need to get a Verizon wireless hotspot. I don't know. I'm going to keep going. Okay. So, you know, we're in an age where people are driving vehicles that are driving themselves. Nikola Tesla, he has this great quote. If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, vibration, and frequency, because that's where the answers lie. Now, unfortunately, the healthcare industry is a little behind, lagging. It's lagging, which is sad, right? Because of all industries, that's the one that we would love to have. But there are some reasons for this, which we'll get into a little bit in a second. Let's talk about this really cool thing that in 1998. So they do this study where we can measure frequencies and energies and magnetism and all this stuff. That's how MRIs work when, you know, they use the ability to see what's going on in your body. So in 1998, they do this really cool study where they take a person and they swab some cells from their mouth. They put them in a petri dish. They have the person watch a video, multiple videos, so different videos that create different emotions for the person. So happiness, sadness, all that stuff. And the crazy thing is that they measure the energy of the cells in the petri dish that are in another room. And the cells in the petri dish are parallel to what the person's cells in their actual body are doing. That's the connection of energy. Now they decide to go a little further and they actually take the cells and they go to a different location and they do the study again. And even up to 5 days later and like 50 miles away, they're still getting the same response, and they keep watching it. And basically is what they discover is that energy has no barriers. And it's a really cool thing. Now, this is where it gets even crazier. But it helps to explain why some people like myself that are overly highly sensitive have a really hard time going out in public or being in groups with lots of people, where sometimes when I explain that to others, they're like, what's the big deal? Just, you know, you don't have to talk to anybody. You don't understand. Like, it's not it. There's nothing to do with talking with people. So here you go. So there's another study by Einstein, I think it was Podolsky and Rosen, some study where they actually had some people and they put them together and they let them just, two people, they let them talk for a few minutes. So they had like this really non-personal relationship, but they talked enough. And then they put them in these really cool cages. They're called cages, but basically they do not allow any frequencies out of them. So if you were to have a broadcast of a radio station, it can't make it through the walls of this thing. That's just like the specific way that they were doing this test. Okay. So now these people had only been together for a few minutes beforehand. They separated and put them in these two spaces. Well, here, this is just wickedly crazy. If they shined a light in one of those, the eyes of one of the people that were just together, you know how your eyes, your pupils dilate, everything changes. It's very measurable with your body. They measured the other person who had the same exact effect, because even in that small amount of time that those two people were together, there was a subconscious transfer of energy. And we just don't even realize like how strong this is. And now my kid's going to be driving his motorcycles outside the door, but that's okay. This strong transfer of energy. So the night that Shane, my first husband, the night that he took his life, and I actually didn't realize this until I was writing some of the stuff that I wanted to talk about tonight. And then I was like, whoa. I realized that when I looked back and thought about that day, that I knew the exact moment that he took his life. And I remember the feeling. And it was a feeling like I have never, ever felt before in my life. But that, because people are always like, how did you know it had happened? Well, that was the moment that I had that feeling, that I picked up the phone and I called 911, because I knew without a doubt that something had happened to him. The energy shift that I felt was so significantly strong, which makes sense. If you're around someone for a small amount of time and someone shines a light in, someone else's eye, and it has the same reaction in that other person. I mean, what kind of an energy shift do you think happens when something happens to one of your kids or happens to one of your spouses? What happens to your spouse, it's going to be significant. All right. So if we have Jason Peanut, can you drive your car somewhere else for a minute? Thank you. Love you. Okay. If we have all these studies and we have all this technology that can show us, and we have people like Einstein that we believe, why is it so hard to not be afraid when I say something like, oh, it's energy. Oh, you have trapped energy. Oh, it's like a total, just really uncomfortable thing for a lot of people, which is really interesting, because the laws of the universe are the laws of the universe. The laws of the universe didn't just suddenly change because we as human beings had started to be able to have the capacity to understand that we are not physical bodies alone. We are energies in a physical body. But we look at it backwards because that is how we have been taught. God didn't just suddenly decide to change the laws of the universe 5 years ago when, or in 1998 when this study happened. Oh my goodness. Somebody just, I keep getting a notification that my connection is junk. So why are we so afraid of this? And when I say God, you can view this as whatever you want, your higher divine power. That's the word that I use when I'm doing sessions. I always tell people, bringing in this higher divine, beautiful power, because I'm so open to whatever you believe in, okay? But why are we so afraid of this? Let's think back. Let's think back to Salem, Massachusetts, 1692. There was a lot of crazy stuff going on. A lot of crazy stuff. Now, if you're like me and that kind of thing intrigues you, and you go back and you start reading through stuff, a lot of people lost their lives because people were scared, because people were pointing blame for things, and it became this mass chaos of lies and people being afraid of stuff, and fear breeds the most ugly reactions in people that one can ever imagine. But really, when it comes down to it, I mean, there's this really cool Salem house. It's one of the houses of one of the judges from the original Salem witch trials. And you can go tour it on YouTube, and you can see like all these little things, which here's the crazy part, is that people were being killed because they were supposedly, witches, or they had a birthmark or whatever. But if you go through the house and you see all this stuff, there's like so many things inside this judge's house that are very superstition, that you still follow the lines of kind of the same thing. And so it's really, really ironic. But I think one of them was like they had a jar of toenails or something. I can't remember. But lots of things were placed around the house to protect them from evil spirits. So there's a lot of misunderstanding going on. And that's the word I want to use with that. When we don't understand things, then sometimes they become evil to us because we're afraid. Okay, but like I said, these are the laws of the universe, and they didn't just come about yesterday. They were here from the beginning. This is how Everything is created, and, gravity didn't just suddenly show up 10 years ago. It was here before. But, gravity hasn't always been something that we as human beings understood. So you look back and you see all these things, right? There was a time when the world was flat. And if you sailed a ship far enough, you would fall off the end of the world and die. Looking at that now, we're like, well, that's stupid because we know. But at that time, we didn't know. And so if you thought outside the box, or you thought of something that you wasn't in an agreement of what you were taught by your parents or taught by culture, then you were criticized. So that's why we have so much resistance right now for an energy movement. Although it's beautifully happening, I mean, you're either getting on the bandwagon or you're getting left behind, really. But why is there so much resistance? There's lots of reasons. The misunderstanding. People lose control of power. If I decide that I can just start healing myself in my own living room, you can't tell me that there are not politicians and people of power out there that are going to lose a lot of money. It's just the way it is. Let's think about pharmaceutical companies. What are pharmaceutical companies doing? They're basically giving you things to mask your symptoms, to help you momentarily feel better. But are any of the medications really that you're taking really actually healing you? Potentially not. I'm not saying it's not possible. But even as I was studying antibiotics today and realizing that on the same time that the antibiotics are working on a bacteria, they're also working on your own cells and can be very damaging to your body. And I don't have the statistic right off, but there was something that was saying that if you had antibiotics so many times before you were 18, they did a study on females that you were so many more times likely to develop cancer than people that hadn't had antibiotics. So yeah, there was a gentleman. He was a doctor. His name is Royal Roman Riff something. I can't say anything. Like, by the way, if you do a session with me and we're finding medical things, I don't know any of the medical terms. I can tell you what it is, where it is, but I have no idea how to say it. Okay, so this gentleman, he has a cancer lab. This is back in like 1920, 1930s. And he decides, or doesn't decide, he finds that he can actually use energy frequencies to treat cancer. And he's having marvelous success with it. So there's this whole thought process that everything vibrates at a certain frequency. And if you send it the opposite frequency, then you basically cancel it out and it allows the body to get rid of it or heal it. And so he was on this beautiful track. And guess what happened? Mysteriously, his lab burned down and everything that he had. So he ends up dying, basically, this really poor doctor who lost everything that he had discovered. And it all comes back down to that. If you can heal yourself in your own living room, there's a lot of people losing out here. But the sad part is that when we do things right now, there's a lot of irony involved. Irony of cancer. Let's look at that one. So sure, we have chemo. Great, right? It's a treatment. Chemo's killing cancer cells. But do you know what else it also does? It also kills your immune system cells. So if you scientifically look at the research, chemo can only get rid of so much of the cancer cells. Your body has to be able to clear out some of it itself. But what happens when you damage the immune system to the point where it can't fight any of that off anymore? Then there is not the ability for your body to continue to fight, right? And then ultimately it just doesn't work. So it all comes down to one really super, super simple concept. And that is the fact that cells are a marvelous, amazing thing. In fact, I was going to post it. I have a picture. Maybe I can pull it up. I don't know. I can show you on my phone. I have a voicemail. Anywho, let's see if I can find this picture. I was going to post it, but I want to show you the inside of a cell. Because, you know, when I was growing up, I'm thinking of a cell and I'm like, I don't know, it has a few parts, right? Think about like when you were in, you know, biology class, right? And then, you know, here's like the mitochondria and all this jazz. It's been a long time since I took this class, but I want to show you this, okay? So this is the most detailed representation of a human cell to date. Notice to date, right? Because you're going to be blown away at this thing. This is from radiography, nuclear magnetic resonance, and some cryoelectronic microscopy, whatever. Okay. Are you ready to have your mind blown? Look at this. You want to tell me? I'm going to try to get it up to you. Yeah, there's a lot. Anyway, you can see it. I have the reflection off my window, but look at that. I'll post it on my page. Anyway, it's fascinating. But when your cells become damaged, then your body falls apart. So how does this happen? Okay. Fight or flight. Let's rewind back to when we used to be running around half naked, surviving. Okay. You know, big giant animal comes to eat one of us. And what do? We go into fight or flight. And we still do that now. You know, some crazy people come running down my driveway. I'm going to go into fight or flight. So when this happens, your body basically wants to give all of its energy to your muscles because your main goal here is to survive. So if I just ate a beautiful salad, I'm out picking berries and I'm eating, you know, beautiful raspberries and some wild salad, and I'm about to die, my body is not caring about the fact that I need to digest my salad. No, it is like, hey, hello, I need you to run as fast as you can, which for me, I'm going to be the one to get eaten because I can't run. But we're running as fast as we can. That is all. It's not like, oh, we should take a nap. It's not like, oh, we should focus on, you know, metabolism. Oh, we should focus on immune system. That's the big one. Okay, is immune system, because your immune system takes a lot of power. Think about it like we have, you know, think about your kids' toys, or I think about my husband and my kids' RC cars. Those things suck so much power out of their batteries, right? That's like your immune system. We're not talking about your remote control for your TV where you put the batteries in and it runs for 3 months. This depletes quickly. So your body's like, shut down everything else. I need all this energy to go to the muscles. We need to be able to breathe and run, breathe and run, breathe and run. We'll figure everything else out later. And so everything else shuts down. So momentarily, your cells are without oxygen, they're without nutrition, they're without glucose, they're without all the stuff that they need to survive and to continually be healthy and do their whole process. Okay. So, okay, great. You know, the threat's gone. I'm safe now. I'm in my cave. Everybody's happy. My body goes back into, my heart rate slows down. Okay, everything starts to settle out. I'm able to process out what's actually the toxins from the fight or flight response, and my body processes it. And it does this beautiful thing through my kidneys and my liver, and everything's beautiful, and I'm all balanced and happy. Happy day. Okay. When we go into this state of fight or flight, which we do now because of the way that we live and the processes that we create for ourselves, where we're stressed out of our minds 24 hours a day, you got it. You nailed it on the head. Your cells are constantly being starved because you're constantly being freaked out of your mind. I mean, when's the last time that you spent a day where you didn't have a moment where you just felt like you had anxiety? Like one of your kids, you know, somebody's tone of voice, you get a phone call, right? Like I'm sitting here, I have a phone call from a number that I don't know, and I have a voicemail. Could be a client wanting a session. Could be somebody calling from the jail. I don't know, right? So I'm going to sit here and be like, who just called? We're always in a state of fight or flight. That's why people are always jamming into your heads. Self-care, self-care, self-care. Because when I'm laying in a bathtub and I'm relaxing, or I'm out on my horse, unless my horse is being poopy, when I'm out on my horse, I have a connection. with my animal, which if you saw my post with my horse's legs stuck in the fence, when I have a connection with my animal, then I'm not in fight or flight because I'm relaxed and I'm enjoying things, right? You're not in fight or flight when you're meditating. You're not in fight or flight when you're doing yoga. You're not in fight or flight when you're reading, painting, whatever those things are for you. Okay. And that's why they say self-care is so important. You've got to give your body, you got to give your cells the time and the ability to get what they need so that they can constantly be doing their cell processes, and so your body can be healing, giving your immune system the energy that it needs to be able to function correctly. Stress damages your cells. Emotions and trauma create cell memory. So now we have this mitochondria in our cells, and whenever we have all this damage going on, when it's continuous and it becomes chronic, I'm having deja vu. That's so crazy. When it becomes continuous and it becomes chronic, then our cells become weak. All right. So let's just say we have this, let's just put them in a chain. Let's imagine them in a chain. Okay. Each one of my cells is a little different. It's affected a little differently. And maybe I have a weak spot. Maybe I was in a car accident, and so I actually have a weak spot in a specific area of my body. Physically, where my body didn't fully heal because I'm really stressed out. So now when my cells start to create these memories from emotions and traumas, then eventually one of them breaks. And that's where we call the breakdown in the chain. And that is how you see, or that is when you start to see illness and diseases. Now, our body frequency, these cell breakdowns can be easily seen and measured, not easily seen, easily measured way before they can ever be seen. And that's the beautiful part of energy, is that sometimes, like when I'm doing a session with a client, I'll be like, woo, you have an imbalance in your kidney. And then my client's like, yeah, okay, right? Because you have no idea that you have an imbalance in your kidney, because it hasn't gotten to a weak enough spot yet that you're starting to show signs or symptoms of a kidney problem. So think about that for a minute. How cool is that? That when you dive into this realm of energy healing, you basically, what are you saying, Amy? You have the ability to sort of do like preventative maintenance on your health? Basically, yes. Because when you're staying in a really balanced place, then you don't have a breakdown and you don't have an issue where you start feeling illness or you start feeling sick. All right, so here comes this really big question that I run into all the time. So I built this up for you because I wanted you to get a lot of like, okay, there's some science here, there's some background here, there's lots of studies here. This is how the universe has been all the time, because this is one of the questions that I run into all the time when I'm working with a client, or I have someone that is wanting to become a practitioner and they're like, I can't get past the part of, I just feel like, how do I know this is of God? How do I know this is of God or higher power? Now, it just happens to be that usually in most instances, if you believe in something besides God is your higher power, you don't really usually have this resistance to energy, because that's kind of like the realm and the land that you come from. So I'm going to talk to those of you that are mostly, you know, kind of in that spot of like, oh, wait. If you followed me, you know, I come from a very, very, very standardized, cut and dry religion. There is no thinking outside the box. It is one way or the other, and that is how it is. There is no gray area. This is not taught in the religious background that I have whatsoever. There is absolutely zero focus on any type of this type of stuff. In fact, in the religion that I come from, men are the only ones that are technically have any type of ability really to heal other people. And for those of you that are having a little freaking heart palpitation right now, I'm not here to bash anybody's religion or, say anything is wrong with any of it. I'm just putting this into perspective of why people have it in their head that this energy thing can't be of God, because this is not what I was taught. When you are so very wrong. And I will die in this chair right now, strike me with lightning, to tell you that I absolutely know that without a doubt, this is part of the divine, beautiful person that you are, that was made by your creator. And that we, as stupid human beings, have put this restriction on ourselves where we do not understand this anymore. Your body is made to heal itself. But we get these things called fear and terror. And then we start freaking out because we're like, well, this isn't what I was taught. And this isn't what culture taught me. So therefore it must be wrong. And now we're back in 1692, where we're throwing people into rivers with rocks tied on their legs. And if they don't float, then whatever. Get out of that mindset. It's time to break away. This is a beautiful, beautiful thing that's going on. Okay, now here, this is going to this for some of you is going to blow your mind. All right. Now, if you're like, I don't know. You're confusing energy healing with some kind of dark arts. Okay. And I get it. There is negative energy attachments out there. I see them all the time. In fact, I was working on my kid the other day and I was like, yo, because he said, Mom, I need you to work on me because the back of my ankle is hurting. And I was like, okay, cool. And so I'm working on him and I'm like, well, this is interesting. I'm like, you have a negative energy attachment. I'm like, why were you playing with the Ouija board? And he's like, well, and then he goes, well, do you want to know its name? And I said, no, I don't want to know its name. I don't need to know its name. Like, I'm not here to make friends with your entity attachments. I'm just here to get rid of them because guess what? The beautiful part of it is a lot of you are envisioning like Harry Potter flying around, dudes outside coming to suck away your soul, when in reality, these things are pretty easy to get rid of. And honestly, they can't be attached to you without your permission. So, release and just be done with it. They like to feed on things like fear and anxiety and anger and depression. And so when we vibrate at these higher levels and we get rid of those, guess what? There's nothing there. It's like, you give your dog an empty bowl of dog food. It's not going to hang out. There's nothing for him. Okay. The body heals the way God intended it to. It's just that we have absolutely lost that ability when we came through the veil, when you were born, whatever you want to call it. That is not part of our cognitive mind anymore, but it's there. It's there in your subconscious, in your spiritual higher power, divine chakras, all this stuff. That's where it lies. And you just have to be able to tap into it. And it's not something to be afraid of. Just because you don't understand it doesn't mean that it's scary. So let's talk about this. For those of you that are very, very strong Christian backgrounds, okay, this one's for you. I need water. I'm dying. No. The master healer. Who was the master healer? For those of you that are really big into the Bible, what about the story in Mark where the lady comes to Jesus because she's having issues with her blood, and she's been to everyone. Who's the master healer? With intention, who can do anything? Who can walk on water? Right? Jesus Christ. So you tell me, for those of you that are the ones having the issue with this can't be of God, explain to me how he's ultimately showed us that the human body has the ability to heal itself with intention. When used in the correct way, with integrity, right? Yes, I can connect to people's energy. Do I walk around connecting to other people? No, because that's taking away your agency. When somebody's really struggling, do I know that I have the ability to help them? Absolutely. Do I just walk around and be like, hey, I'm going to connect to you and I'm going to release all this stuff so you can be healthy and happy? No. When I see a person in a wheelchair, is it really hard for me to not want to connect and be like, hey, I'll just come over here and stand behind the shelf at TJ Maxx and I'm just going to release a bunch of stuff for you? No, I can't do that because that's just not the way that it works. You have your free agency and, you know, it has to be your choice. The only reason that you think that this is not okay if you do is simply because of the past agreements that you have had drilled into your head. Religion can be a beautiful thing, and religion can be an absolute horrible thing too. Look back at when, we decide to go on a crusade for Christianity. How many people did we slaughter in the name of Christ? No, 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 no. Yeah, now in this day and age, we kind of look at that. We're like, yeah, that's probably not the right way to bring people into your religion is by, slaughtering villages. Just saying there are probably other ways. Like right now we send out missionaries, we do service. Yeah, like we kind of got that. But if you had been born at that time, you would have thought that was completely acceptable. That was what we did. It doesn't make it right. Just because that was the understanding doesn't mean that was the correct way to do it. But there's a lot of things that have been done in the name of religion that are not, that there's no way that they are really of God, because that's just not the vibrational level that God focuses on and works through. Okay. So yeah, there are lots of ways that we can get rid of, the things we have going on. But tell me this, because this is another one that I have a really hard time with. Okay. All right, here we go. Ponder. Put your pondering caps on. Somewhere it's okay for me to fill my body full of toxins, my body that God created for me, that He blessed me with. Here I am living this fantastic mortal life. I say that sarcastically. It is pretty great most of the time. I can fill my body with all of these substances and toxins because the medical world has told me that pharmaceutical drugs are fine. But I'm shying away from the fact that my body can heal itself because I feel that it might not be of God. If I have a brand new car, I'm not okay with shoving lots of nasty contaminated fuel into it, right? Like, no. That's the problem with, the state that we've gotten into, is that pharmaceutical drugs are fantastic, they're acceptable, and therapy is great. Talk therapy is fine. Not saying there's anything wrong with talk therapy, but for most of you, does it actually work? Honestly, really? I mean, I'm sure some of you have had some breakthroughs if you're working with the right therapist, but honestly, for a lot of people, therapy opens wounds and it actually can create and make things worse for you. So my encouragement for you is use the gift of your divine self. So when I work with clients, I'm not healing you. Okay, let's be perfectly clear. I do not heal you. I do not cure diseases. I do not get rid of your pain. I do not stop illnesses from happening. You do. You do that. I am simply the tool that helps your energy to flow again, because I'm the one that taps into your subconscious and says, hey, yo, girl, you got a trapped emotion of frustration and it's riding right here in your collarbone. And oh yeah, by the way, you got that from the argument that you had with your husband last weekend. And you're like, what? Yeah. Oh yeah, I did. Right? And then we just say, okay, there it is. Like, let's let it go. Release it, breathe it, out it goes. Away it flies. It's amazing. That's how we get rid of the memories in ourselves. Now, if you're the type of person that you're like, well, this doesn't make sense to me because I'm looking at my life and I haven't been sexually molested and I haven't been in a car accident and my parents were really great to me and I haven't been beaten and I've never starved before. So why do I have such a freaking hard time in life? You don't have to have trauma to have memories in your cells. So you can be affected by frustration at the same level as someone that has a trauma where they've been in a car accident. That's just the way that it works because we are very unique and we are very individual, and that's no different than your fingerprints. So no, you don't have to have gone through a ton of stuff to have your cell memories or cells having frequencies and memories. Okay. I'm going to tell you one more really cool thing. If you really want to see how memories work, because initially they thought that memories were only stored in the brain, and they actually started doing lots of studies. And then they were like, wait, we're not actually finding that that's where memories are fully stored. No, because memories are stored in your cells. Go look up some transplants, organ transplant stories about people that have gotten organs from donors and they actually have the memories of the person that they have the organ from. It's really trippy, honestly, because cells store memories. So sit back and ask yourself, wow, I wonder what kind of memories my cells are storing. I wonder what kind of memories my cells have going on. While they're still having those trapped issues going on, right? Your cells cannot fix themselves. When you're in fight or flight, when you're super stressed, okay, your immune system is, you're feeling yuck, you're depressed, you have anxiety, and right, it just continues in a cycle. And for a lot of you, you can do things like watch videos with crazy people with pom-poms on their head, and it'll help you snap out of it. Or you can read a book and it'll help you snap out of it. Or you can do some yoga and it'll help you snap out of it. But for some of the rest of you, you're like, yeah, this isn't working out and I can't break through the cycle. That's where I can help you. Okay. I do have a scar because he put it right here. I have a scar. I have a scar in my eyebrow. I was riding a four-wheeler with my Uncle Robert and I have a scar on my forehead because I hit the handlebars. At least that's what I've been told happened. But yes, I do. And when I make when I lift my eyebrow, you can see it. It's really not a big deal for me though, just in case you're wondering. Okay. So yes, there are ways to get help with it. And I'm not even saying like, hey, come to me, I'm your energy healer. I truly believe that you probably, actually truly believe there are certain people in your life that you are supposed to connect with that are there to help you. I don't feel like I have a soul contract with every person. And that's why sometimes when someone comes to me, maybe I can't help you. It's potentially because either one, you're not ready to heal, or maybe I don't have a contract with you to help you. Now, there's lots of ancestral guides hanging out, just so you know. I see them, I hear them. We play cards together. Not really, but you know, that's where my baby girl comes into play. That's where people that have passed, my grandparents, like, oh, since Tammy, you're on here, I had to connect with Grandpa Murray because I knew that there was a specific stone that was his, that was helping me with clients. And so those are your spirit guides. And so this is the one that is his. It's very much earth ground type stone. I don't know where the card is. I can't remember what it's called. But anyways, I have one of these for everyone. This is my grandmother. This is my other grandpa. These are how my ancestors help me help you. I haven't actually ever told anyone this, but I'll tell you. So basically the way that this works for me is I have my ancestors that help me help you by working with your connection, with my connection with you, with your ancestors and your spirit guides on the other side. All these are is the way that when I hold a specific stone, it helps open up that intention for my third eye to be able to get impressions that I need. And those are where they're coming from. So it's really super cool. It's a beautiful process, something that I didn't even know existed until I started doing this. I had no idea. I always thought, honestly, I always thought people with their little gems and stuff were just kind of a little bit out there. Once again, though, it comes back to the right. I didn't understand it, so it was weird to me. Now that I feel it, I actually had Taysom the other day. I was having him hold a stone, and I was like, hey, put some energy into this and see if it gets warm. And so he was, and he's like, oh, it's warm. And my other kid was like, what? And so I had him hold it, and he's like, okay, now this is trippy because it was warming up. And I'm like, yeah, because we were doing this, Jazz, and we were, anyways, energetically. So use your divine gift. It's there. All right, so there we go. That's what your focus is on tonight. All about frequencies and cells. Happy health. Happy health. Stop focusing on what you can see. Focus on your energy first, because when you do, everything else will come into play. When you focus on your energy and you get balanced inside, your hair will be healthier, your skin will be healthier, your body will start losing weight, you will sleep better. Like, it's just that we do it so backwards, right? I'm like, oh, I want to fix my face. So then I start piling on all this moisturizer and fixing my hair, and when I should be focusing on what's creating the block of energy that's stopping my cells from creating beautiful hair, from creating beautiful skin, from allowing my metabolism to work so I can lose weight, from allowing my immune system to function properly so I'm not sick, from allowing my body to heal so my knee isn't on fire. Okay. All right, you guys. Love you much. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your night. Lisa, no, I do not have different stones for each client. The way that it works is I basically have a dish right here, and I have other ones sitting around. So when I go to do clear something from you, like if you have a trapped emotion of something, sometimes when I do it, like I'm just inspired to impression is what it is, to pick up a specific stone because your body likes it, and that's the one. So like some of these are associated with chakras, your throat chakra. So sometimes when you have certain things trapped in certain places, a lot of times if I'm really needing to dive into someone, like I have my healing stone that I hold, it just depends. But most of these, like some of these, like this is Baby Sisters, like hers is a rose quartz. It kind of just depends on what guide I'm using and whoever's helping and whatever is going on with the people on your end of the connection there. So, okay. All right. Love you guys. Thank you, Amber. I hope you have a great night. Bye.